Is that NCR Ranger Chief Hanlon?
Hi.
NCR's Senate has got funds tied up at the boneyard. And President Kimball ordered our most experienced rangers to chase ghosts down at Baja.
What? What do you mean by that? Where the fuck are you going? What do you mean? Hello, I am Ugly Kid, your host of Based Western Fallout. Today, I'm going to be giving you my interpretation of Chief Hanlon's comment about chasing ghosts in the Baja. Before I actually get into that, I'll briefly explain what I'm talking about if you have no idea. So, in everyone's favorite video game, Fallout New Vegas, the NCR is stretched very thin. They're engaged in conflict with the Legion, the Brotherhood of Steel, and according to Ranger Chief Hanlon, they're chasing ghosts in the Baja. We never learn what this actually means in game, and Josh Sawyer, Fallout New Vegas' director, refuses to elaborate.
Who are the ghosts in Baja? It's a mystery. It's an intentional mystery.
He intentionally left this vague to allow for player interpretation. It keeps people talking about the game, so I'll be doing exactly that, talking about it. So let's break down what this comment means. Chasing ghosts in the Baja. This doesn't imply anything supernatural. Ghost is a metaphor. We can assume this because it makes sense. I don't think I actually have to research to rule out the supernatural. I mean, come on. It likely doesn't refer to the ghost people or holograms from the Sierra Madre either, as neither of those things have left the Madre yet as of the start of New Vegas. So it's likely this is referring to some sort of government or group of interest that was thought wiped out. I say this as ghost implies they were once thought dead. So, now that we've established chasing ghosts means you're trying to track down some once thought dead organization, what would that organization be? The one everybody would think of is the Enclave. However, I don't think it would be the Enclave for various reasons. In New Vegas, we learned the Enclave is basically non-existent. The Enclave remnants are one of the last groups of surviving Enclave members, and they're old as balls. It's been 40 years since the Enclave was wiped out in Fallout 2. Of course, Fallout 3 decides to bring them back in full force. However, even if you count Fallout 3 as canon, the Enclave gets wiped out again at the resolution of Broken Steel, and this takes place 4 years before New Vegas. Now, we can't rule out the possibility of a Neoclave picking up in the Baja. However, if there was a group of people masquerading as the Enclave, I don't think Hanlon would call them ghosts. When you die, if some random kid starts pretending to be you, would he be your ghost? No. Hanlon would probably use a different paranormal creature like Mimic or Husk if he meant the Neoclave. Furthermore, the Enclave remnants give no suggestion that they've been reached out to or know of some sort of Neoclave or any surviving Enclave members. Now, it could just be the Enclave remnants haven't been reached out to yet, but come on. So if not the Enclave, then who could these ghosts be? Well, there's only two other factions in Fallout 1 and 2 that were wiped out, the first of which would be the She from San Francisco. In Van Buren, as well as some cut dialogue in New Vegas, and possibly the Fallout Bible, I don't know, I didn't research when writing the script, I guess. It was stated that after the destruction of the oil rig in Fallout 2, the Enclave suspected it was an attack from San Francisco. So, the Enclave retaliated by nuking the city. This is what caused the NCR to go after the Brotherhood of Steel, because they're idiots who don't know the difference between two power-armored, energy-weaponed, high-tech factions. How the NCR even knew the Enclave nuked San Francisco, how they didn't realize the Brotherhood of Steel and Enclave are separate things, especially as the NCR and Brotherhood worked together to take out Navarro, I don't know. It's a weird story thread, and it was cut at every possible opportunity. The Hubologists who are from San Fran also appear in Nuka World somehow. That's really stupid, actually. But, according to Bethesda's canon, San Fran still exists. I also want them to continue existing, even if their implementation in Fallout 2 was subpar. So, I mentioned there being two cut factions. Who could the other faction be? The Unity. It's the only faction in canon that got completely wiped out 100%, no interpretation. And here's something else. After Bethesda bought the rights to make Fallout games, Interplay was working on their own MMO codenamed Project Van Buren. Part of their marketing was the tagline, "The Master Lives." Interesting. We kill him or he kills himself in the first game, so the only way he could live would be if he's a ghost! Which is what Chief Hanlon described as a thing the Rangers are chasing in Baja, California, Mexico. It's important to note, however, this Interplay is not the same group of dudes who worked on Fallout 1, 2, and Van Buren. Those guys were let go and went on to form Obsidian around this time. The Interplay of this time period were the precursors to In Exile. So, would this plotline thought up by the corporate stooges who got everyone fired really inspire the guys who were fired? Maybe. I don't know. Now, Fallout has flirted with the idea of Unity remnants. You can come across some of them in Fallout 2, but they have no story. They are simply hostile mutants in random encounter that are named Unity remnants. Could be safe to assume that as the NCR expanded north, they wiped out these remnants. Now, how could the remnants of Unity continue to exist if the NCR wiped them out? Well, that was only in Northern California. The Cathedral, the Master's base, is in Southern California near LA. So if there are remnants in Northern California, it could be safe to assume they are more closer to Unity's home. The NCR, as far as we're aware, hasn't expanded as far south into, say, the Baja. This gives the Unity remnants 120 years to prosper between Fallout 1 and New Vegas. Furthermore, Fallout Tactics shows a bunch of mutants doing shit. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel shows a bunch of mutants doing shit. I know, you have your own opinions on these games, but still. So, with a bit of interpretation, these signs seem to point to a Unity remnant faction. Is this 100%? No. But with all the info we have, it seems the most likely. This could even explain why people in the NCR are so mutant-phobic. If you don't trust me on the NCR xenophobia, just listen to Mean Son of a Bitch's backstory. Anyway, something that caught my eye is the idea that the Master lives. Now, I love Unity. They're my favorite faction in the franchise. I love super mutants, I love the Master. However, I think allowing the Master to live would render Fallout 1's climactic finale less climactic. In fact, I don't even think the Master would have actually lived in the first place. I believe, based on nothing more than instinct, the Master would have been long dead. The leader of this new Unity would either be some imposter or a deranged super mutant who believes the Master lives. It would be very cool if it was some sort of night kid who carried bits and pieces of the Master's corpse with him everywhere. I could get into fanfiction territory here, but I'll leave this video as a purely analytical and speculative video. In fact, I'd love to get into my fanfiction, but I'll save that for another video. If you guys want to hear more about the ways the Master could return, Alt-Fall on YouTube has a really good video about this topic. I ranked every way the Master could return in Fallout. Also, check out this animation called Fallout: A Hollow Flame. Criminally underrated animation. What do you guys think? Did I get this right? Are the Baja Ghosts the Unity? Yes, they are. Because I'm always right. Alright, everyone. See you in the next one. Hey, editor's notes. I went back and actually listened to Chief Hanlon's dialogue, and the way he describes the ghosts in the Baja is a pointless mission that they're wasting resources on, and I don't think chasing down the Unity would be a pointless mission. That would be kind of a big deal, so this whole video is wrong. Alright, bye.